Go Beaver! Away!
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Crits Cast. Tonight, we've got, I suppose, technically, the first game of season 26. It's the ETF2L Highlander season 26 Premiership qualifiers. We are going to see Sensation battling out with Quasar formation. Both these teams, or certainly the players, been around the block a few times with one another, and both of them looking to break their way into the sort of coveted Prem spot. Outstanding here. So joining me on production is one of the unsung heroes once more. It's going to be White, and joining me on the mic is going to be DuMmTm. As we know from past seasons, Vigil, I'm sure you'll agree with me, DuMmTm, it's definitely one of the more exciting payload maps. Definitely a lot of grounds for an upset here, and it just picks up the pace due to the sort of when compared to the stale nature of perhaps Upward or Badwater or maps like that. So I'm quite looking forward to this one. Do you have any sort of outlandish predictions for how you want to see this first one go?
I don't really know. Sensation just had an awkward season last time they played. It did include playing this map as well. So it's hard to say how good they really were on this map specifically, in all fairness. Quasar formation, on the other hand, I mean, these guys try as hard as they can. They had an okay showing in the last payload game that I have seen them play, which was against STCK of all people in the Experimental Cup on Cornwater, which is not quite the most traditional map anymore these days, but the first round especially was really good for them, so I have high hopes this will go well for them here on the side of the Red Squad. So far, as the round starts now and the game goes live, the timer ticking for Sensation, we see a fairly traditional hold. DuMmTm takes the complicated way around to get back to the rest of the team through tunnel, but as long as he's safe with the dispenser and the gun, nothing much should get to the medic here. Otherwise, fairly traditional, far back, safe hold, not overcommitting to the first point, just trying to eke out a minute maybe, and have a really good second hold after that.
Yeah, Sensation look like they want to sort of mount up a nice set piece here, just trundling the cart forward, trying to take a little bit of space on this open flank side here. They've not been able to get their spy Ajay behind just yet, but I'm trying to just apply a little bit of pressure, let this cart roll forward. They do lose Dixor's in the melee of it all, but quite sensibly Quasar playing up nice and far back. They understand the strength of a second hold here, and they do not want to let up anything beyond this first point here. So just a bit of delay, just trying to squeeze every second out that they can, and to get all of their players back onto that second point, ready to deal with the Sensation onslaught that I'm sure is on the cards very soon.
Yeah, this is what the risk reward for the defending team is now much more in their favor. You're much closer to spawn, you have just a lot harder ways to get in for the attacking team right now. Doesn't mean it's impossible, they're already trying. The hype coming through by Ivor and Davey trying to get on the medic, but the Dispenser armor paying dividends. The spy still gets stuff going. There's the NG pick of all things. That's a really nice one. That gun is down, and with that, there's a lot of defense lacking right now. This Dispenser is barely even hanging by to defend the medic anymore. But who's gonna do it? The spawns are taking their sweet time to get there as it goes. But they might still be beating out at least some of these people. The NG up now, but has a long time before anything's built. They gotta take their chance now, or it's too late already.
Yeah, they've really got to pounce here. They use really quickly out of the gates. They're trying to get as deep as they possibly can. No frags coming off. It's just going to be a trade. A significantly better supercharge coming out of Quasar found formation, and they're just trying to pick up anyone they can. Dixor sort of left out on his own there in tunnel, just trying to get the cart progressing. A nice bomb from Haver as well, managed to pick up a frag, combined with some other really nice frags from the supporting players. Just the Darker Time, the medic on the side, Quasar manages to slip away here. We've got Yucca in the back lines, looking to cause a little bit of a disruption, but that cart about to go over the line at the sort of back spawn, about to be enacted, and a nice aggressive position here from Sensation, looking to make it as awkward as possible to get a third hold set up, but nice backstab from Yucca does take Lakey down, so that's a little bit of pressure relief, particularly on the sort of longer sightlines you'd be expecting as they trundle towards this fourth point after locking off the third.
Yeah, this is just exactly what any team wants to see on a payload point like this. You just get the momentum going into the next point. However, a couple of people just bust out of spawn just enough, and the forward position is not working out for Sensation as much as they would like it to have been. Still have the advantage, it should still be fine. Will waste some time, and maybe just enough to get some setup going here. This is Spencer being put up a gun only level 1 right now, but it's looking likely that they might be able to get something going. 80%, 85%. They're slowly getting to the Uber, and the waiting on spawns is just eating away on the clock way too much to have an advantage push anymore.
Yeah, it's really sticky. They got all of that position, but it was all for nothing. You know, they just took so many players down. But it's going to be an Uber trade here. It was a pretty sort of sensitive counterpop there from Quasar, but seems to work in their favour, not giving Sensation any position at all. They lose Lake Data, a nice double backstab from Yucca there as well, and that's going to open up a little bit of aggression, but they've got that medic there. They don't need to take any risks, really. It's going to be about a 40% advantage to Quasar, so they're quite contented with just bunkering down, just trying to put a little bit of pressure to this car. If it rolls back, even better so. So Sensation going to have a little bit of a rethink after quite a blazing start. But I'm sure they're very capable of it now, as just trying to take a little bit of position. Sniper managing to pick off Lakey, and just a nice wide peek coming out from Dixos, just trying to feel out the defense of Quasar formation. But to what extent? You've got the sniper on the red side there, doing a fair bit of damage, applying a lot of pressure, and taking a little bit of slack off of the engineering from the other defensive classes from the Russian side.
And there we go, they pulled the trigger. They're just feeling people are too close for their liking on the card, and they want to get rid of them, but they're pulling the trigger so early, they didn't really see anyone anymore. They fell back after some initial damage, and it looked like they were going to go out just fine. There was the chance of a pincer maneuver with the spy behind them. They took care of that, and then they popped through anyway, really, really early, and they're not getting much for that efforts in the end. Davey goes down. That sounds nice in theory. In practice, if nothing else happens on top of that, what does this exactly accomplish other than just give Sensation the advantage they would otherwise struggle a lot harder to get now? Suddenly this is just a prime opportunity to get in for a play. Do use fairly early themselves just to be safe around the sideline, but as long as there's damage going forward, this might still be good enough. But certainly the cap time's already looking nice, and now they have to commit back in deep on the part. It's almost capped already.
Oh, they managed to sort of obstruct it a little bit just as it gets to the apex of this ramp. Oh, and with a nick of time they managed to eliminate the offending players there. Sort of two failed Ubers back to back there. You know, they managed to bunker themselves around the car on the Sensation side, but they didn't manage to make any position up front. So when the players were ready to come back in, when they were ready for the collapse, it was just super easy for them. The Uber fades, they just pile in all nice and healthy, and it was going to be a bit of a tall order for Sensation to get that over the line, but they're going to have another crack at the egg. It's going to be a very slight Uber advantage in their favour now, so they're not quite contented with sitting around, but take a huge amount of damage from Quart. They're managing to pick up 3 as they try and tickle that cart forward. So going to be another sort of failed attempt there from Sensation, but they've got a little bit of time on their hands. They managed to keep Dave alive. That's all that matters at the minute. They're just trying to get that Uber charge up together, and don't want to take anything that's too big a risk, but losing Davey there, not fantastic for them.
That was a really close call for Dave as well. That man snuck away with 2 HP burning, just about getting to the small health pack back on second. Demo pick, like you mentioned, is annoying, but time is of the essence right now. They can't take this forever, so something has to happen soon. They rotate flank, get the sniper sideline forward from just a little bit of a more pressing position here maybe, and try to get something going towards the card area, and maybe also enable people playing it, and that's actually going to do it in the end. Sniper sideline, while as card time is making them pull the trigger really quickly on this Uber, but they can't get anything going with this. Quasar formation just has to go back empty-handed, and Dave can just pop around the corner, flash demo, flash heavy, get the damage going, and anyone that's staying in the wake of this will eat the consequences. Not too many do in the end, but that's exactly what you want to see. Just a nice and easy cap at the tail end of this Uber to get momentum back in their favor maybe, but with 641 into third, you need a bit more than just capping the point. This has to be some huge momentum swing that isn't looking likely right now.
No, obviously they are just trying to get the defensive set up, but they're receiving absolutely no pressure in the process. It seems like the Uber charges just coming in a bit empty there, you know, that they're popping and trying to get a really aggressive Uber without being able to sort of see the medic, get the medic picked off. So certainly going to be to both of the team's detriment here. Dixos goes down, trying to take position over this corner. We see Sensations now taking much more aggressive positioning forward, trying to open up a little bit of space for the car. Perhaps mistimed, but it's showing a little bit of willing. They're just 20% away from their Uber charge now, and they're going to look to try and disassemble this Quasar formation defense here.
We'll see, we'll see. It's not much of a gun. Meer just barely comes back out of spawn, so can maybe get this to level 2 in time. No, level 1 will have to do for the time being as the push comes in, but they're getting blasted quite well. Can't really take any useful position at all on the blue squad. It's going to be an exchange at least, and pretty much everyone survives, but is that good enough for the repush? Davey's trying heavy in tower with that as well. Dealing good damage here. It's not starting off too bad, but this gun is still a problem. So much health just sponged up on the left side of the hold. The gun, the heavy, with the beam on him. No one's going down over there, even if a couple of people might be losing their lives in the end. Is that good enough to recommit? Davey will try anyway, but they're distracted by all of that, so the spy can get in.
Yeah, it was some really solid damage from Davey there as well. It really punishing on that gun and those players hiding in that corner there, but seemingly well armed with Yucca there. You know, Davey and Dave, the D's in hand, sort of caught short there, and Yucca managing to pick up two really sort of crucial frags as they try and hold this last point now. So gonna be a really chunky Uber advantage for Quasar, and it looks like they want to go for a sack wave. It's a sync bomb from Haver, but the dispenser armor is just so punishing as an attacking player, not quite able to get anything with that single sack there, but it sort of can't reasonably well progress. You know, at this point it just takes one solid push, try and get a lot of forward ground, which isn't as easy as it sounds, but that needs to be the objective of Sensation when they do get the Super together now, 30% away.
We're getting to the double digits now as well. This has to be a working push stat for Sensation. All this is already looking really dire for their own half on this push. Something will have to happen. You were up any second here. High bombs coming through. Hive already in early force would be really good, but the Pyro blasts any enforced hopes away that Medic is taking any damage. The Spy at least gets the gun in the midst of all this, and that is a silver lining here, but they will have to pop so early just to basically nothing. As Solly finds them on the flank. They still haven't committed yet after the Solly bomb, and this Uber is just not going to accomplish anything at all.
Yeah, that's knocked at least an extra 40 seconds off their offense, and at the end of that, it's just going to be equal once more. So really sticky situation for Sensation to be in. They're coming with a double bomb, comes in again, such excellent denial, but they managed to get the force off. The dispenser goes down, a pipe hits, and after those players die, the Uber charge is popped there by DuMmTm. So Dave now handed a 50% Uber advantage. His players now just spawning on the Sensation side, so they're going to have to look to make their mark pretty quick here and perhaps take advantage of the players that have just now sprouted from Quasar formation and take a little bit of space. So looks like they're opting for this flank side here, ready to disassemble this red defense that's been a bit of a tricky point for them so far.
Yeah, there we go. Bomb in already here. No, it's just a straight push with the Uber walking in. Davey just leads the charge with the rest of the team. Gun ignored until they can cover some space. Someone else can take care of that later. The Pyro will do. Taking some stitch, but that's a crit engine busting out of spawn and just completely walks over everything that was standing on the right, and there's not much left either on the rest of this push. The rest of the combo just busting out of spawn the other way and make quick work of this, and with that, this will be anything but quick work at this point. This 3 minutes might be ticking down to its entirety.
Yeah, Sensation very much feeling the effects of sacking into a sentry gun. Those crits managing to pick up 3 frags in that fight alone, and Meer able to set a gun up once more. It's a level 2 already. They've got a 60% advantage in hand now, this defending Russian side, and it's a really sticky spot for Sensation to be in. That clock is ticking up big time now, and it's going to be a real tall order to defend to the same extent. So we're going to see an Uber coming out, leading on Clav, so they're taking this flank side here. They're trying to wrap around the back of these Sensation players, but they sort of bail when they realise they're not going to quite be able to find it. Quite going down as they back, but Spoo manages to trade for Davey as well. So not all is lost here. So Quasar formation with their Uber disadvantage now just going to settle back.
I don't like what I'm seeing here. Walker's just walking in behind Dave. Does not realize there's so much happening in front of him. The man doesn't walk back in time. And it's just disaster with the heavy waddling up on them.
Wow. I didn't quite anticipate that. I didn't have the outlines on, and I just thought it was part of the team. But yeah, that's pretty damning there for Sensation. The sort of aggressive push there from Quasar didn't quite work out, but Walker somehow managed to salvage that as the fattest player on the server. So a big props to him, and handing his team a huge Uber advantage once more on this defensive side. And it's looking pretty perilous for Sensation. 1 minute 30 left on the clock. You know this is going to be an absolutely mega time, and nothing really in position for them to try and unhinge. They managed to get the Uber popped. Quasar try and pick up as many frags as they can, but all he's going to do is just tick the time down. You know, they got to wait for these spawn Sensations, so can't operate at the extent they want. But Yucca manages to pick off Dave at the end of that Uber charge, and he's causing a little bit of ruckus behind it. Their spawn as well, and it's all seconds here, and I can't even see Sensation capping at this point. It's looking pretty dire for them.
Yeah, this is going the full distance at this rate. They don't even have much time at all anymore, but you need this Uber charge to make a stance on the last point. And at this point, are they going to get one that matters? DuMmTm is just getting there much faster and having to exchange through at about 20 seconds left is just looking miserable.
Yeah, I would feel like I'm flogging a dead horse a little bit here with Sensation. You know, they've only got one sort of crack at the egg left, managing to pick off Wiethoofd and the sentry gun with a body shot from Lakey. A sort of inopportune time for him to try and move that, so does open up a little bit of ground for Sensation to go. Quasar want to try and counter Uber. They managed to pick up one frag. They're probably doing a good job of denying the full onslaught of Quasar there, so they're just going to have to pile in here 20 seconds. They need to, at the very least, try and tick that cart into overtime as best they can, but they're just getting swept up. The flank doing a big old chunk of work here. Inner and Dave going down to the flank players respectively there, so nobody really in a position to get on this car, and I think we might have to call that square. It looked pretty good for them at the start.
It really did. They started off really, really nice. 2 minutes into second, and then Uber ad pushed into third as well, but with no setup, mind you, so everything was looking in their favor, but the moment that wind was out of their sails, it just stopped dead in its tracks, and they just couldn't pick it back up again. This pace just did not last long enough for them, it seems. And now they will have to go likely very short round on the second half. I mean, beating 641 into third already sounds very doable, at least, so the instant win time for Quasar formation, actually very realistic.
Certainly so. You know, they only have to cap these first 3 points in 6 minutes 41. That's not too bad, and obviously you've got the fallback of, you know, just cap last if you can't do that. So a lot of win conditions they can look to appease here just to secure this first map. And sort of the first map's to some extent it's the most important. You know, it sets the pace, it sets the tone for the rest of the playoffs here. And you know, we have the potential to see a lot of maps here, so getting the nice early morale boost is going to serve them pretty well. So now defending is going to be Sensation and Quasar formation going to be attacking. Sensation not putting up some huge numbers on the board for them to try and tackle. So I can imagine the Russians going to be pretty overzealous with the first half of this map, but there's certainly room for upset still.
Yeah, we'll see what comes of it. I mean, I've seen a lot of crazy things happen, even in higher divisions in Highlander, so nothing's exactly impossible, even if it's not happening on this round. It's best of 3 on the map as well, so as long as they make the time they have on Vigil count long term, I mean, you can still make it work in the end. Just have a good old map talk in between the rounds, maybe, to figure out what's going wrong exactly that needs to change, and maybe we see it happen. Who knows? It's been a while since we've seen the comeback like this, and it's not starting off well. Just crits right out the spawn gate.
Yeah, that's not too bad. You know, obviously they wanted something a bit more tasty than the sniper and demo man, but you know, it's all ground, it's all good, but they have sacrificed obviously a big old tactical chunk of time there, because they've popped the crits, they've got a couple franks, but one thing they haven't got off the back of that is their overcharge. So
they did switch, however, so they're trying to be heads up about it and put just the fear of God in their eyes about the crit squid coming in again, but it's not there. Let's hope Agile checks these things, but you can't assume that happens all the time in these games.
No, but looks like they're on the offensive still. They want to take as much ground as possible. Davey only just spawning. There's some really punishing spawn timers on this map, so really not great to down on that first point, and they've given them a decent chunk of ground here, but the Uber is coming out now off Sensation. They're going down this hill. They managed to kill Quark. Don't manage to catch anyone else really, and the sniper slips away over the head. That's brilliant.
Actually, they have 2 spies.
Yeah.
This very much looked like a situation where it was just Sensation thinking it was the crit squeak. They're close, the threat was there, they wanted to get a jump on them, but the medic was super far back actually, and obviously it was not crits as we saw. They just wanted to bait them, and they made use of that threat perfectly in this situation, and there's the push coming in off the back of that, just popping right through tunnel, see what sticks, and for now, not much is sticking for Sensation. Dave is trying to survive, but he's doing a good job, but just in bad position. Everyone else already going down all around him. And by that point, he's just stuck in no man's land. A few players still left on this point. There is one good kill to get, but where is that medic? They need to locate that guy quick.
Yeah, he's just chilling in that tunnel.
There we go. The scout finds through. The Solly distracted from the other side. Wasn't dropped down, and the scout sneaks in there.
Yeah, a lot of players down on the Sensation side, though. When Quasar came in, they suffered very little resistance trying to get through that side tunnel, and it was sort of handed to them a little bit there, and you know, they get a good few frags traded off, but as soon as they had that player advantage, they weren't able to sort of solidify any of that position there. But Wiethoofd goes down, as does Clav on that attacking side. It's going to make things a little bit sticky. The flank now spawning as well for Sensation, so they should hopefully get that tunnel under lock. Walker is trying to sort of edge his way through. Dave taking a big old chunk of damage from the soldier. They managed to take the gun down, and Yucca gets him as well.
Yucca is just doing so much work this game, and this was another beautiful stab. DuMmTm goes down in the midst of all this, but how much does that matter? They were lucky to get the mid-kill last time, but this time around no one else dies in the midst of it all, so they will get this point, and they're back to this third point that, mind you, they can't afford to lose for another 3 minutes.
Yeah, it's a very minor Uber advantage on the side Quasar formation, but obviously if they want to sort of risk it, which they don't have to, you know, they got a decent chunk of time to play with, they can look to get some really nice ground on this open flank side while they get the gun set up, while they wait to fulfill this supercharge. You know, there's no real aggressive sniper position yet. Lakey's looking to make his mark somehow, but he has only just spawned, taking a nice wide peek, going really far back. And trying to pick off this flank, so there's definitely putting DuMmTm at a degree of risk. Davey goes down to Yucca. Spoon with a nice bomb gets a Cero as well on the flank, and Sniper pressured out through Lakey, so making an awful lot of space now. The Quasar formation side, the bomb comes in from Spoon. There is a sort of counter there. Dave, so painfully weak, manages to slip behind, and seemingly enough for Quasar to get it over the line, and a pretty comfortable first map win in what I thought would be a little bit more turbulent.
Yeah, that was like what, just crouching up to 4 minutes for these first 3 points. That's not a bad time at all.
With that, we do see both teams readying up in pretty reasonable time, so I'll take that one. But yes, as we say, it is going to be again the Russians attacking with Sensation on the defensive side. We'll have to see if they want to pull anything funky out this time. Maybe fake a little bit with the Kritzkrieg and switch back to the Uber. We'll have to see. Time will tell. But they did a pretty good job of sweeping them up last time, and obviously the Russians going to have to look to push all 4 points this time. Could the fourth point be their kryptonite? We'll have to tune in and see.
That would not be the first time I've seen that.
Yeah,
winning the game up further than refusing to push last yourself somehow in the next half. It's been a staple of a lot of games I watched so far on every payload map, really, especially Badwater back in the day. But there's a chance we won't see that next season, so who knows. That's an exciting topic, I guess, for later to discuss. What will be the mysterious last map? We don't know. Actually, there's, I guess, 3 potential maps, I guess. Could be many. We'll find out soon. I mean, the season starts at some point next week, so the waiting can't be taking that much longer, but for now, they have to play the other maps that have been confirmed to see who makes it into Premiership in the first place.
Yeah, so we are going to see, obviously, the first few seconds is just all about taking some nice early position, just apply a bit of pressure. All that Sensation can really do here is just sort of take the very fractal seconds, you know, just apply a little bit of pressure, just try and slow them down, but it's not going to be too meaningful there. They're all about that second hold, and speaking of second holds, the SAP coordinated with Quark's damage there does manage to pick off Sensation's sentry gun there, so although they're not taking a lot of ground, they are slowly eroding Team Sensation here. Haven manages to trade with Spoon, but of course Spoon gonna get the earliest spawn there, so gonna be a backup there called by Sensation. They just want to get themselves nice and lumped up on second and try and combat this Quasar offensive.
Alright, quick first point, nothing too new to see here, but the action is on second. Well, if it is going to go down. NG caught a little bit by surprise, but nothing much connecting yet, so gonna get out of there. The gun will go down, and that moment actually commits. He wants this guy to go down. Inner, however, just kind of walks away from that bomb and actually kills the guy on the back. But Lolvon finds the kill anyway. Inner just committed too hard to find the kill that Hyver really should just have gotten on his own. And that might be a bit awkward, because suddenly there's a lot more reason for people to just sack in at any moment on blue.
Yeah, Sensation seem to be sort of aware of that and returning it by being awfully aggressive with their positioning, because they know they don't have a sentry gun to fall back on, so they've got to put the spammer really close there just to try and make it as sticky as possible. So Spoon again trading with Haver with some support from Quark there, and Quasar just trying to tickle this cart forward. They want to get it out of the tunnel and sort of open up opportunity for them to spring into yet another push. It's a pretty even Uber situation here, both teams around 80%, but again, the gun not up, and Yucca manages to backstab Dave. These are some awful timings that Yucca's managing to pinch a Sensation out here.
Alright, Dave going down, that's the huge problem. The Uber comes in very early, that's a nice and quick force, but how much will this matter right now? The NG especially needs to be living. Looks like a couple of kills are still being gotten in the meantime. Here and there, a little headshot by Vigil, despite all people in the backlines, finds one more kill, but that's all they're getting on Sensation. Quasar formation just wraps this point up off of the mad kill. That's the one you want to see. Inner survive, that's still really good, because it's not that much advantage at the end of the day. The mad spawn is generously enough not that bad yet, with a quick force in return, so they've only trailing behind by 10% and they have a gun.
Yeah, it's much better than their second there. They've managed to get their gun up, in is alive, so that's a good sign for them to start with. Sort of Sensation just finding themselves in a really precarious position again. You know, Uber's reasonably equal. They've lost a few advantages to some sort of awkward pickoffs, but they've got their level 3 up, they've got their medic up, they've got control of this corner. Car very, very slowly progressing here, and looks like Quasar want to take this open flank, so they want to make a little bit of space for their sniper and try and get a really crucial pick. But are they going to hand it to him? We'll have to wait and see. Dixor's unable to take that corner, gets picked off by Walker, his counter heavy. Yucca comes in, the gun goes down, doesn't manage to get a backstab there, but
Spoon in the
draws a lot of
skybox
eyes.
gets the jump on everyone. Just goes incredibly high, unnoticed by every single player on Sensation, and just kills them all. Really nice stuff by Spoon. There was glimpses of that during the preseason cup, and glad to see that man still performing exactly like expected.
Yeah, he was dropping some huge numbers on that Koth map. The name of it escapes me. Is it Cascade?
Cascade, yes.
Yes, yeah, he was doing some huge numbers. So we're seeing it again here. You know, even if Yucca's not sort of picking up frags, he's still creating destruction. He's still coordinating with his team, and you can just visualize that, and it's proving to be a bit of a kryptonite for Sensation here. They're coming out now, Quasar, trying to take as much position as possible. They've got a full Uber advantage, the gun and Engineer going down, and they've got insane position here. Everyone from Sensation caught out on this flank, Spoon in with yet another bomb, doing huge damage, pulling those Sensation players back. They've lost a few players on the side Quasar formation, so not quite able to get the ground that they want, and handing Sensation a little bit of an Uber advantage, so they're just trying to force their way in here. They try and get a hold of Dave, but it's not going to be enough, and a nice bomb from Haber picks up those players just chilling in main, because just sort of stood around a bit too discontented for too long.
Alright, well, Sensation got out of this one pretty nicely, able to just sit back the entire Uber and relax here. Have a conch push as well. We'll have to use very optimistic one. They have a very interesting idea here, but one's already out by that time. That is a very bold push for a team that has the backs against the wall, but I guess it's interesting to see that they're still trusting themselves on these, even if it's still not quite working out as intended. The morale seems to be still there to do big things, but they just are not quite enough just yet. Let's see if they can bounce back. Little sticky trap will catch the Solly exactly. It's wasting some time. That is still worthwhile. They only on 45 though. It's behind by a little bit on the Ubers, not by a ton. This has to be actually a really quick push on this ad if it's gonna matter.
Yeah, you do. Like they had a really good first 3 cap, Quasar here, but you find that some teams that gets to their head and then they just completely bottle the last, so they need to look to close it out. But that headshot onto Dave, peeking through that flank side, people know that the sniper's going to be there. You know, that's why Quasar are taking this flank side, and Sensation just allow them to exploit that. They lose 5 players now. People on the car from Quasar, no defenses. We see Adja come in, gets a frag onto Darker Time, but with all those players, or rather lack thereof from Sensation, it's going to be a bit of a tall order for the Pyro and Sniper there, and a pretty blistering time from Quasar. I mean, it's certainly not an impossible time to achieve, but it's going to be a tall order for Sensation with that sort of form.
Yeah, it's just an all-around sort of time, all things considered. I guess with a 2-minute second point, you'd expect a tiny bit more, but it's not bad by any means here. This is setting up good standards for themselves already. All they have to do is just do anywhere close to as good as last round and have hopes that Sensation cannot step up their game in return. That's really all it's coming down to now. Sensation needs to just figure something out. Certainly they were still going for offensive plays on the defense even to mixed results as that might have been, but if they can keep that energy going from those plays now on offense, maybe they still have a chance.
Yeah, of course, that's the thing. This map is just so quick. You know, it's not as sort of played as some of the other maps, although we've had it for sort of 3 or 4 seasons now, and there is definitely room for upset. You know, Sensations, they've got to be pumped up now, because they know this is potentially deciding sort of the first map of the 3 that we could potentially see in this qualifier, and they don't want to have to sit down and battle it out again, unless they maybe just doing it because they want a bit of scrim time. But in which case they want to try and take this to a best of 3 regardless. So we'll have to see how things pan out on the attacking side. Now going to be Sensation looking to return the 6-minute time of Quasar formation now on defense, and again just a very slow progression out of this spawn, just trying to disrupt them as best they can, try and tamper with their sort of would-be second hold.
Alright, actually just going for a quick play, instantly gets the sniper. That's a nice pick to start things off with, makes everyone's life a lot more freely to commit on this first point, and just, yeah, look at that, covering a ton of space, getting the spam going and just forcing people back already. I mean, the gun was far back as last round already. This is just not intended to even delay anyone on first. This is just there to make people not have a bomb from behind, really, is all that's going to do. And I mean, nothing bombed behind, so I guess it serves its purpose and wastes a tiny bit of time until we go into second.
Yeah, of course, from Quasar formation's perspective, you know, you've got 6 minutes to tick down. If you just get 4 okay holds, you've sort of won this, haven't you? You know, you can expect to lose the one in sort of the first point in a minute, and then the others you just want to tick it down. Haver goes with a really aggressive bomb, gets super deep, a nice bit of movement onto Darker Time, but Dave somehow dying at the same time. They're really unfortunate for Sensation. It does muddle things up when things like this happen during the sack.
Yeah, it's just
sticky.
Yuka again. The man just keeps finding these somehow. The pistol shots come through this time, and it's gonna be costly ones. Actually tries to go in quick as well, but even the demo kill would not have really been good enough. The medic not even close to that one. You lose a couple to the pick classes anyway. Pinsky finds one more. Things not looking good for them, but there we go. A demo kill. I mean, you'd have to shoot through the Uber first, but it's gonna have to get there at least.
Yeah, really sticky spot now for Sensation. They do lose their Pyro on the Quasar formation side, and Dark Time gets pretty chunked down, and Haver comes in with a bomb, but the dispenser armor is really punishing. You hate to see it, but it's just the way it is. Dixel super aggressive, but no match for the wrangled sentry gun there. So Quasar formation, they've been on this point for a minute now, and they don't show any signs of letting up a full Uber advantage. Sorry, a 30% Uber advantage in hand, and they're ready for whatever Sensation could throw at them.
Yeah, we'll see. Time's running out. 3 minutes 40. This has to be a really quick push from here on out after a whole Uber fight ensues. First of all, I'm gonna be curious if they have any plans for that. But now, straightforward approach, I guess, is the best one to go for. Just bombs in deep. Try to get the flank involved as well, but they can't really get past the heavy while the entirety of the bomb's damage is just on the dispenser, doing so much work.
Yeah, I think the dispenser definitely takes the MVP this time around. Inner goes down as well, so that's a little bit of the utility dropped for Sensation here, but Quasar formation now, they've got to hold for 3 minutes, 3 points. It's looking like a real tall order for Sensation. They're going to have a really dominant push when they pop their Uber charge, which does come out, but Quasar, they just lock them out of this side tunnel instantly there, and they try and get over the top way while they're asleep, but it doesn't seem to be working out too well for them. A lot of frags being picked off for Sensation, and again, DuMmTm, it's all falling apart.
Yeah, I mean, well, for it to fall apart, it had to be in peace in the first place, and I don't think that really happened this game all too much for Sensation, unfortunately. This is just not their map today, not their game today, and I mean, they got 2 maps to recover from that, but for that, the upward has to be a lot better than this is right now.
Yeah, it's certainly not the position to be in. You know, you're looking at the point where the game is, or sorry, at least this round of this map is going to be a bit of a write-off, so they're just going to sort of throw themselves at it. They've got to pray for a miracle, but I can imagine the morale is at a bit of a low. It looks like they're having a good crack at it, though. A lot of frags being pulled out, and managing to pick up 2 frags with the crits from his reserve shooter there. They're getting the cart slowly tickling forward, and Quasar, they know what they've got to do. They're not going to bottle it. They're not going to overcommit to second. They're just plonking themselves on this 3rd point, and just seeing what Sensation have to throw at them sort of towards the tail end now of this map, and looks like it could potentially be enough, but it's still mathematically possible, which is something we like to throw out there.
I mean, the chance is always there. It has to be a disaster for Quasar formation at this rate, and there's the start of it. The max stab comes through edgy. There's a lot of stabs here and there throughout the game, but very few actually on the key combo pieces throughout the game, but that's got to somehow do everything for them.
Yeah, it's still gonna be a real tall order here. We got a minute remaining. The cart progressing at a ×1 pace, and no position really be taken by the Sensation players here. So they've really got to lump it here. They need to make a lot of ground. The Uber out pretty early here. Dick's also one to take the corner. They still got that level 3 sentry gun up. They managed to slip their medic away, and Meer just backs up to last. They know it's a 50-second push, so they're gonna have to hope for a little bit more on this cap. It's not even started progressing up that hill. A lot of players down from Quasar. They've got their medic up. They've got their sentry gun sort of being scrambled to be built, and it's not going to quite be enough. There's still a lot of potential here. This could be done by Sensation. They've now got time shot on the car. Super aggressive position. They've got the stickies on that spawn door here. There is certainly a way here, but the disruption from Spoon on that car.
He dies to the gun anyway, but that should just do it. Spoon is just the hero. His team did it.
Wow,
in what was really just dire times right now. This was incredibly losable still. If not for that, but that should bring this home.
Yeah, a couple slip-ups there. Quasar, so obviously getting that near full wipe on third. Sensation, you know, they didn't have time show on the cap when that push came in, when there was like 40 seconds left, which is a bit gnarly, but you know, they show that they have potential to do it, but it would have been good if they did that a long time ago. You can see they just sort of look leagues above there. It was a pretty formidable performance from a few of their players, namely Yucca and Quark. But I suppose with that, we should have a little bit of look at the logs and see whether we can sort of mathematically state this, and also instantly jumping out to me as well is going to be Spoon. Managed to pick up 37 frags, 16 deaths, coming second in the DPM compared to Quarky. That's pretty formidable, and you could just see that the logs, again, very reflective of the game state we saw. If you sort by sort of any metric, you see it's largely dominated by the Quasar formation players there, and they just put in a really solid shift. Their defense was rock solid.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, in the end, right? I mentioned at the beginning there is a good chunk of this Quasar formation roster that had, I think it was a third place finish before in a very contested season for that final slot in playoffs that one time in Premiership. In some ways, you'd think, why would they have to qualify? But I mean, it's just been a while, and the rest of the division is looking as strong as always. So sometimes you just have to go a long way to be where you might rightfully deserve to be. Certainly, they can pat themselves on the back a little bit already, but they can't get out of themselves, as we've seen just now. The moment you do, it could get very dire very quick.
Yeah, you sort of, I suppose, running the gauntlet of these preseason and the qualifying games definitely sort of proves your worth. It removes a little bit of controversy, and I guess it gets the admins away from a little bit of criticism here as well. So whatever makes it easiest. But I'm sure these teams quite glad to get the reps in regardless. And if you aren't able to qualify off the back of 2 opportunities, then maybe it's a good job you're on the qualifier in the first place. But we're going to see Upward now, another payload. They're obviously not tired of it. They want to get the reps in. They want to play as much TF2 as possible. They don't want to fool around with Koth, because that would just take sort of far too little time.
Yeah, we'll see what comes of it. Also, I don't want to be like the fun destroyer here, but I did just open ETF2L and I see someone leave the other qualifier team. So I don't know like the actual importance of this match right now anymore.
We're about to see it all unfold now. Of course, Quasar formation coming off of the back of a map 1 win on Vigil. This is the upper bracket Prem qualifier position. They are scrabbling it out, or as we say, map in hand for Quasar formation, looking to make it to and get a nice early bedtime. And you know what those time zones are like. So defending first is going to be the Russian side. They're getting their crit stickies planted out and going to be attacking, trying to make up for lost time is going to be Sensation in blue.
Yeah, we'll see. They have a lot to make up for on the start of this round. Once again, the ones that will have to set up the time. It is a bold choice to start with after how last game went, but I mean, I don't really know who has the choice in this matter anymore after the decision took a while for them to even figure it out in the beginning of game 1. I guess we're just rolling with the punches at this rate, and we'll have to see what Sensation can do about this one here. Upward, like we talked so much about already, tried and true map. Everyone has played this to death, but have these rostered, have these rosters actually done their homework when badly needed now?
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. We saw the set pieces fell apart a few times for Sensation on the last map in Quasar. Similarly a bit more coordinated, but I think Spoon and Yucca were real stalwarts of that and did a lot of work for their team. Jay gets spotted out trying to get in position there. He's pretty weak, but manages to slip away, and a nice detonator from Clav picks him off while he was cloaked there. So not too bad from the defending side already. They're just looking to sway away any aggression coming out of Sensation. Yucca playing a bit of a CCTV spy here, just calling everything he can see, just trying to make it as difficult as possible. The sack's now coming in. Davey lands on top of Playground, but coming in super late is the Pyro and Haver, not even able to get in due to the resistance, but a backstab onto Lakey on the attacking side as well is going to make it a little bit harder to take some ground here for Sensation.
Yeah, good stuff for the defense, seeing the sacks unsuccessful, always great. For the red team, Quasar formation will be no difference than that. Pull the gun back a little bit, just forward for a bit of anti-air support, but back now to be just harder to read while the combo's going forward, but Darky eats every single sticky on the server at the same time. Davey makes quick care, takes good care of the medic, and it's just a clean sweep on first from here. Get the gun, get the NG, they're just going deep for a few more kills, but this is just clean sweep on first, and look at that, they want the sniper too, which is just a really nice kill to have at this rate. It seems to be just about escaping them, but I mean, this defense has a mountain to climb now without a gun that's already perfectly set up for them.
Yeah, Sensation take advantage of what would be, I suppose, a free Uber charge here, and they take a big old chunk of ground on this second point as well. Haver goes for a bomb, bonks his head, and gets picked off by Quark there, but Yucca tries to get a little bit of a salvage going and somehow manages to sort of line the Pyro up in that sight line for a sniper to pick off. So a lot of ground being made up by Sensation, taking 2 points for 1. Dave going down to a coordinate bomb from Spoon and Yucca. They're at their old tricks again, and even when they're on the back foot, somehow they're on the front foot. Oh, and DuMmTm actually goes down as well to the pistol of Ajay.
Yeah, Ajay just somehow was behind them just in time and takes down 2 for the price of 1. Somehow catches Spoon with that 2 right with the medic. A really, really fortunate kill to get. Might just be the silver lining in what's looking a little bit more dire otherwise, but I mean, we'll see, right? The heals are only coming back now. It's a decent bit of advantage to Dave, but you want to see this happen before it even comes to that, and the lack of a forward force for the Quasar formation team might just be
my
more
god.
that.
Yeah, Lakey managing to pick off his opposite sniper, and then the engineer makes that attack pretty solid. Oh, Yucca drops down, manages to pick up the Pyro, slips away with his life, looking to take a lot of ground now. The Sensation side, they're rolling with an awful lot of momentum. Yucca looking to make a little bit of a mark onto Dave. He's behind him now. Looks like he's going to get spotted out in time. He's drawn a few eyes, but not going to be enough for Quasar to launch a counter-attack. Lakey getting picked off by his opposite sniper. Spoon trying to do a little bit of something and gets headshot by the sniper.
That is just 2 quick ones for Finsky, and the man's not stopping it either. He wants everyone on card to go down as well. Unfortunately, that's just a heavy still in. I guess the right time to do it when everyone's not expecting even a sliver of resistance anymore, because the combo just couldn't get in the first place. But no, there we go. Like he has some big competition here on the Russian sniper spot, and not given the time to do any of that. The scout just finds the kill first of all.
Yeah, certainly a lot more opportunity for the snipers on this map. It's definitely a bit more tried and tested, and they've been having some real major ramifications in this fight. Sensation getting the car nice and well progressed. 2 minutes 40 for the first 2 points is not all that bad, but we're going to see the Uber coming out of the Russians here. Dave caught short again, goes down to Lolvon, and it's just going to be an attempt from Quasar to get as many frags as they want. They do lose their demo man, the cat sack coming in from Davey, but duly denied by the Pyro and that sentry gun there as they try and get the cart up this final ramp for this third cap.
Okay, someone has to demo reorthodox card time. He did jump away when the cart was not up the slope earlier and no one was shooting him, but now people are shooting him. That is exactly when you have to ditch the cart, despite it not being up the slope. Will be fine in the end, everyone survives, and they have just people back there instantly to keep the cart time rolling, and Spoon's gonna go down for it too. It's a trade on the Solis in the end, but better spawns for blue always help a lot, but how much does it matter when the combo with the gun is just still standing in the back, heavy in the flank with the sniper, even like Dixor's trying to do some work in the sidelines, but they don't have much to work with on the combo side of distractions or anything.
No, the scout gets off the cart again. right at the top of that ramp. It's a bit sticky for them now, not able to get any ground to support this cap time, and Sensation, in spite of how good the momentum in the space they took before was, seemed to be faltering just a little bit here. So they have an Uber, as do at the Russian side, and they are going to look to go in pretty rapid here. Haver bombs in, lands behind, managing to get the force off nice and early, but it's going to be a counter from Dave as well. They expired just about the same time. Spoon trying to disrupt the offense, just trying to deny Sensation as much space as possible. It looks like it's working, as they are just a couple of players down here. The ramp desperately needs the cart to be pushed up. They do eventually get it. The cap really, really close to that line here, and Dave seemingly surviving this one, but at the expense of a lot of his glow players.
Alright, a little bit of awkward card discipline has cost them a lot of time actually. I feel like I could have been up there so much sooner. Now it's been deployed, it's up the slope, and whenever that is the case, usually the hold doesn't last much longer, certainly on Quasar formation. You have to be very careful what you commit to. They do want the rollback though. They are trying to not let anyone get too close. Spoon does leave at the worst time though. He was on the card for so long, but jumps up high to try to get on Dave, and Hyper sees it coming very early. The scout just sneaks on it right after that. And that's just gonna end the hold. Like I said, it's up the slope. It's game over for third more often than not. And back to last it goes. But it's not like Quasar formation wasn't expecting that or anything. They're back early. They have the medic out alive just fine.
Yeah, Yucca sort of tempting Dave. He's trying to make a little bit of a mark, but seemingly the offensive, the Russians just holding their heels so far back. They managed to lose a couple of their defending players. Of course, giving that that third cap up quite liberally does mean that they've got a good few players alive for this defense, but they've lost their engineer, they've lost their heavy. It's going to be a bit of a challenge for them to try and get up to this top area. They've got the teleporter set up, so that should serve them so long as it lives. And Ajay just looking to try and get an in, try and disrupt this upper hold that proves to be quite powerful for these Russian players usually.
There we go, exchange on stairs, trying to just get the flashes all around, but they have to use Uber on just as many people on blue to get out alive there in the end as well. So it's a bit of an awkward fight to take. The exhaust goes down as well, no heavy, leaves them very vulnerable. DuMmTm just goes in for the best of it, but all of them go down just too early before Dave can actually get out safely. And with that, it's a complete disaster on the side of Sensation. And once again, last might be taking the best of them.
Oh, yeah, it was just him. It was just DuMmTm and the sniper in that upper area there, and he was just double jumping all over the place, desperately trying to reload his scat again. Nobody was able to get to DuMmTm in time, and gets that frag. A pretty solid recovery there, handing his team what looks to be a 50% advantage here. And of course, he's denied a lot of heals from this upper area. You see the health is not too great, so they see it as an opportunity to bust through. Spoon goes down, Walker dies with the ship, getting a Zero for his efforts there. Haver in this top area as well gets Clav, so this is a real good opener for Sensation. They've got control of this upper area now. They've got to contend with the red sniper who is bunkering around this sentry. That's
Yaka
sticky.
just trades for the DuMmTm so early. That damage is badly missing right now. Having to spam down the gun, Meer can just walk it back on the other side here to the catwalk. From the catwalk to the balcony instead, but there's the card time coming in. Awkward time to flash the engine. The scout comes in as well. Gun gets spammed down. Where's anyone committing? Spoon gets on the card just in time. Takes out one player there in the end, but is that going to be enough? It's rolled back again, but everyone else is just still sitting up on high ground, and the scout tries to get there and just barely enough damage.
Goes for the block. That's brilliant. They managing to pick up a frag as well. We've seen this before though. Quasar have been up two or three players a couple times already on this hold. They're just sacking straight for this cart. Nobody's taking the forward position, but it's going to have to take the wipe from Quasar for Sensation to get it over the line. That was pretty hectic towards the end.
That somehow didn't feel as long as 9 minutes, but it was 9 minutes almost in the end for Sensation. It felt like this was going fairly quick at certain points, but I guess the in-between time just wasted so much time, having lost the medic, like, I think twice on
it was
third
the third,
and last.
yeah.
And that just costed so much time, because the plays that did actually happen the second they just got an advantage, it just worked immediately. These were perfectly acceptable pushes, a bit awkward and hectic there at the end, but you can get away with it on last with the better spawns more often than not, as long as you just don't all-feed on card and actually keep in mind that as long as you take down the 1-2 people spawning each spawn wave, you will be fine. And they just denied the DuMmTm to spam the point and got it from there.
But yeah, not a bad showing there from Sensation. It's not obviously not a perfectly optimized time, but they use the momentum to their advantage and put up a pretty respectable number on the board. So they can take that. They've learned a few mistakes from that last map. We saw when they were aggressing with their Uber charges, they weren't able to get the position they needed. They weren't able to end the Uber in a more favorable position than they started in. And they seem to sort that out, particularly on that last. We saw a real nice dominant Uber and a good wipe on first as well. So they're going to look to sort of prevent Quasar from doing that, as they are now on the offensive. They're just getting their set pieces set up together. Yucky gets picked off, so that's going to be a slight detriment to them, and they're just getting the heals out. Quark places his gun. Spoon nice and buffed up as well. We're going to see the skip bombs coming across. Dave is awfully aggressive there. The parachute DuMmTm doing an awful lot of damage, and it is going to be enough to force Dave here. They lose 4 players to the sack, but that doesn't matter, it's a sack. So Quasar formation in a pretty good position already. Although not getting any frags, they got that all-important Uber charge popped.
Alright, the 1-for-1 comparison on these first souls, it's a little bit awkward, right? They lived first sack with on the Russian side, but they had to use their medic. They dropped on the second push forward. This time around the first sack, we will get the fourth, but as long as Dave gets out of your life, this should still be perfectly fine on second. As long as they make the choice to leave in time, Dave already far back, should be fine. Here's the Uber coming through, looking for any victims left on the first point. There's a couple, including the NG, and I might be able to just about wrench his way out of there.
Yeah, that's not too bad. It looked like he was just desperate to set up that teleporter, but didn't quite work out for them in the end there. 3 players down on the attacking side. They did have to use their Uber charge there, so it's going to be an advantage to Sensation once again. Unlike Quasar, they have managed to get a nice aggressive positioning on the defensive side. They've got control of this hill, so not going to give up the momentum quite like they did the other time around there. Just waiting to build their Uber charge. They're 50% up now, this Sensation side, and looking to disassemble the Quasar formation's offense.
There we go, it's looking pretty decent on second, but there's the drop. The pipe just hits out of nowhere. Where even did the first 50 damage come from? I have no idea, but
someone else.
There we go, that's suddenly looking a lot more dire, and they wanted to commit anyway. They were just on their way forward with a conch, but unlike on last map, unlike on last point of the Vigil, they just did not use early, and it's gonna cost them.
Yeah, it's not a good position to be in, particularly when you're looking to get set up there. So Quasar now taking a good bit of ground over this hill, facing very little resistance from Sensation. If they're able to get Quark nice and far forward, it could potentially be curtains there. Nice aggressive positioning, losing very few numbers for it as well, but Carp being disrupted pretty well by Haver here on very low HP, manages to keep it at time 0 for a big old chunk of time. Quasar have to force their Uber charge out, try and get a lot of ground, and they're going to lose Quark for it. He's going to try and scramble in, try and get Dave. It's going to be a bit of a tall order though, and it does not manage to do any damage there, but certainly pulls a little bit of the attention back.
That was really nice by Dave, just completely juked the DuMmTm for ages there. Corky stood no chance, will not find the med kill. That's going to be a good bit of advantage on third. They just need to keep it this time. They have doable time here at hand still. It's 3 minutes each point. It sounds quite a bit, but starting with this advantage is not setting Quasar formation up for success right yet.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot more to unfold. Of course, Sensation was slightly quicker around this time, but that's certainly not to say they won't suffer the sort of gridlock on this third here. So Quasar looking to slowly meander their way in. They're 15% away from this Uber charge. It's going to be equals when it comes time for the push, but their players are not too healthy. Walker going down to just 1 HP. Pixels going down is a lot of positional advantage for Sensation picked off there, so I can imagine they're going to want to operate pretty rapidly here, but taking a lot of damage at the bottom of this hill. And a reflect kill manages to pick off Quark as well. And was that a drop as well onto Dave for that?
I didn't see it. Must have been. They had advantage going into
noise.
this, so it had to be. And this is not just the medic down. This is also just going down. Demo heavy alone would be really bad, but I guess 2 can play this game like he returns to paper. But is that going to be enough without a DuMmTm with a heavy basically not on the point?
Yeah, that's a pretty big blunder from both teams there. Cart now progressing up. It's been a pretty sort of even hand there from Quasar off the back of that play from Quark, somehow managing to get that frag. He does die to Ajay though, but got the team all the position they could possibly want here. It's going to be an Uber advantage to Sensation, but they've got to look to hold last for 4 minutes, which certainly isn't out of the question. But with what we've seen out of Quasar so far, and the slip up from Sensation, it could be a tall order.
I have seen so many 5+ minute last holds in my time, so I can't get my hopes up yet for anything. But I guess we'll see. Like you said, the Quasar formation has been maybe not on a tear this map, but they've been looking good for sure. A little bit more clean overall, and that might just go a long distance here, not to make these small mistakes over and over again. Where Sensation just has been messing up a little bit more. Tried to peek forward a little bit already to see what's up, but none of them finding a lot with it just yet. Bit of damage from the sniper, but that's not going to make the medic die just yet.
Yeah, not going to be able to get too much off the back of it. It looked like it was a sort of a little bit of an attempt at a sack wave, and if they could get a little bit of space, they would claw at it, but unfortunately neither coming off for them. And they're going to get Uber soon, so it will equalize. They can't nice and progress, so when they want to go forward, they can look to trundle that forward. So Walker in a nice aggressive position here, a lot of damage. Oh no. Oh,
they like
Darker Time's right there. Darker Time's right there. They've taken a long time to walk down there, but they do manage to get the force off eventually. Haver going down to a reflect kill. The Uber has been forced, and they've got a Pyro in a nice tight corridor there, so Sensation's counter pop might not be as effective as they would hope. So Quasar formation just want to regroup, just get themselves settled again, and look to how they want to disassemble this Sensation defense.
This was unfortunate. They were so close for this to be perfect, but the fact that they still had to use in the end made this a lot worse for Sensation. After all is said and done, this counter push kind of has done very little in the end, and it's still very threatening because now they don't have an Uber, and if people just sack it now, the medic can't use to save themselves, or anyone else for that matter. Everyone's already taking a lot of damage. Spoon can't get in, so that's not quite a disaster yet. V4-2 can't find much yet either. All fine so far on the defense, but losing your DuMmTm is still always a little bit scary.
Yeah, particularly when you're contending with these really tight corridors, and you've got to contend with this as well. The stairs, a lot of damage coming out of Quark there, getting Dixos down super weak, picked off by Spoon. They're going to have to back out here. They lose Davey as well. Dave is 50 HP, trying to run back into Sport, taking a lot of fire from Walker, but manages to evade that. But they're setting up in sort of the sort of hub spot. They've got themselves plonked up on the upper area as they were before. 2 minutes left.
Uh-oh, car time. They have someone has to be there. Discount tries to be the one that does it, but gets denied immediately when they went for it. And the rotation just too slow out of Sensation to get there in the end.
Yeah, they didn't really look comfortable as soon as that upper hold was disrupted, as soon as they lost Dixos. That was sort of curtains there. You know, a really important frag onto Davey as well. Just sort of, it was written on the wall, and yeah, a very successful push from Quasar. It's not like they're coming in and they're winning all of the equal situations, but they're able to, through credit to some individual players, they're able to get a frag on one or two of their Sensation defense, and then that's enough for them to shoehorn their way in, and it seems to be a pretty effective way of busting them down so far.
If you've been paying attention in recent days, of course, there's been 2 cups for Highlander, so plenty have been tested, except for Bomb Blitz, which just has not been played despite being in a map pool, because no one cared. We'll see what it will be. It will definitely be upward. So, I mean, hey, doing good here now is a good sign for things to come, I suppose. It's not unlikely week 1 map again, so you better be able to play this map.
Yep, so we're jumping right back into it now. This could potentially be the ultimate map of this qualifier. Quasar winning 3 in a row. If they win this next one, it's going to be curtains for Sensation. They're going to have another battle trying to get that final Prem spot. But there is certainly grounds for upset here if they've had a little bit of time to collect their thoughts, try and disassemble what would be Quasar's formation's offense, and just try and make their mark here. So we'll just have to see how things pan. We're going to see Quasar formation attacking once more, Sensation on the defense, and they're going to have to hope they can have a slightly more successful first hold this time around, and not allow them to roll with that momentum onto second.
Yeah, we'll see. Certainly not having to use on first this time around, as quickly at least, right? So first sack wave it was last time would be already a big improvement, could get you well over a minute, unlike before where each team just lost this point relatively quickly. Getting this point time on 1 front-loaded for the rest of the game piles up very quick.
Yeah, definitely, and it sort of compounds as you go as well. Then we do see the bomb coming in from Quarks, and off for the parachute this time, but they managed to get Dave with a pretty saucy pipe there. That's pretty solid from there, but that's exactly what they want off the back of that. All
right, it's a good start for sure, but still comes down to how they actually get in here in the end, right? It's obviously huge, but do they get it without DuMmTm using? Does someone just kill DuMmTm, right? These things still need to cross their minds at the moment, and more than not, these medics still have to use for points they should have for free, and there we go, the gun just takes all the attention away from the rest of the team, so
Oh my god,
it's going to be a quick overuse,
here.
and at least Dave will have ad out of this afterwards, so...
Well, they finally spot Digsource out. He didn't quite use his position to the fullest extent there and just ends up dying pretty late. So the Cap going to go over the line. Sensation with a 30% Uber advantage now as Quasar look to mount their push up this hill. But they are being met by a nice drove of Davies stickies there. So trying to make it as difficult as possible for them, but he needs a little bit of backup. He needs Digsource to get to them as soon as he can. The Cap progressing pretty well in tunnel, suffering no resistance from the Sensation flank. And it seems to be enough with Dave going down once more for Quasar to just take all of this space once again. A pretty disastrous second hold again. Just getting a lot of progress, Quasar here, and they just want to lock off this corner again. But the 3 players in tunnel from Sensation are going to look to make it as awkward as possible.
Alright, looks like they found some of them. Hiver taken down early, Edgy, and Ozoro still giving them a big old chase. Edgy gets in there, but it's just not the time and place to get there. For Spy right now, face first into the medic, he's not going to get a quick kill, more often not.
Yeah, so we do see now Quasar just completely locking this out. Sensation, they have got a level 2 sentry gun set up. Quark calls for the Uber charge, and it's going to be a bit of a tall order for them to make up all that distance. Yucca manages to pick off Davey. That was quite an audacious bomb. I admire the... I admire the ambition, but didn't quite manage to get any damage at all off onto the Sensation side. But they've got a bit of momentum in hand. You know, they can afford to make a few slip-ups. There's a lot of cart progress to be made up for, so plenty of time for him to spawn and roll out here. So Quasar set up in this house, bunkering down. Clav letting the cart progress, making a little bit of space for his sniper as well. Lakey looking to try and get a bit of return on the other side here, but it's going to be a bit sticky for them.
Alright, we'll see. Uber advantage on the side of Sensation, but that hasn't unfortunately mattered too much this round yet. Which is very awkward mat losses for them so far. This round, 2:24 to second, is a good time by all means, but can still be lost quite a bit of time here if this third point doesn't go well. And it's been awkward for both teams a little bit into third so far, so we will see how it goes with this hold. Nothing too crazy out of Sensation just yet. Gun far back, combo further forward instead though. Just to stop people getting any space and any funny ideas early. And looks like Crazy Punch is very careful about it until they don't want to make a mistake. Until he was there, Dave just barely uses him. Time was burning mid-air, getting bombed. Will have to use anyway though, so it's not much better on any side of this fight actually. DuMmTm immediately falls by one single soldier. Still though, there's a lot of weak people left, including Davey on barely any health at all. Sniper gets bombed into the back lines as well. Leaves them with low health all around. DuMmTm gets bombed into the heavy damage. Perfect timing for the heavy there, but there's down so many, and Dave is just with a spy in his face now, has the DuMmTm to defend with, but the pipes are just not hitting.
Yeah, it was a lot of cart progress as well to make up for. You know, it seemed like a pretty decisive push for them to try and get that cart moved up, but it was so far back at the start of it, it's barely progressed, not even up that second ramp there. They lose Haver, and Sensation sort of not quite aware of what's going on, so as a result, they're just going to elect to back out to last, get themselves set up. They know how powerful the upper hold can be, but it looks like it could be a pretty rapid time from Quasar. I think it's going to be about 5 minutes onto this third, and that's pretty solid looking into this last, but we know that there's always big potential for a really chunky last hold.
That was almost incredibly scary, or it was really scary, it just wasn't working in the end. The heavy just hides next to the staircase and catches all of them by surprise, but there's just too many to get a quick kill on any one of them. So the medic will get out fine. DuMmTm will have to be one hand for a little bit longer here. Takes more damage, just people trying to flank them, but hasn't had to use just yet. 80 health, it's still fairly scary for the medic, trying to take the high ground, but they're getting there in the end. So this Uber still has a lot of potential work to do on last, and they're getting so many kills already.
Yeah, again, we just see it. Quasar, they're sort of the masters. They're able to pick up so many frags before the push. Amazing sniper shot. Again onto Dave, picks him off, taking a lot of position. Quasar is times 5 on the cart as well. The Pyro trying to make up for it, but from what was looking like a pretty reasonable time has turned into an unbelievable time from Quasar. A 5 minutes 15 after a 4-minute 33rd cap. That's pretty formidable.
That is a really solid time for Upward, of course. Really nice stuff there by Quack at the end. Just immediately opportunity was taken to jump up on the high ground and just do the damage on the high ground there before people can even leave spawn at all and deny this card any more than they would like on Quasar formation. And with that, we're right at the time we're at right now. Some crit sticks coming out on the fence for Quasar formation. And then back it goes to spawn for the medic. That's the age-old play here. You have the time to do it, and I'm always surprised not more people do it a lot more. It seems so risky. You will always have time to get the Uber running again. It's just some funny sticks all over. But technically, you can have more traps of that and be more efficient, I guess. I don't know.
I'm way too lazy to run back to spawn.
That's probably it, right? It's like effort. Your scout has to do something.
Exactly.
We all know scout mains don't want to do anything.
Exactly. Especially in Highlander, they just want to plonk themselves behind the cart for the entire time, which
Yeah,
you've got to appreciate here.
There's two types of scout mains. There's the one who wants to press W, and there's the other one who just wants to stick on card.
But yeah, we do see the crits on the Sensation side. They are going to be aggressing. They've got a big tall order to answer to, so just trying to take a nice bit of early position. Of course, this is all about Davey here. They lose Lakey pretty early on. The pop comes out, managed to get DuMmTm. That's the most essential frag for them to get there. Yucca manages to pick off Dave, so the Uber's sort of nullified a little bit, and it's just going to be a little bit of a melee here. Davey getting an awful lot of damage on these players on hill, managed to assist in picking up nearly the entire flank of Sensation, of the Russian side, and allowing Sensation to push this car up nice and far forward. That level 3 gun still ever present, making it a little bit of a muddle for Sensation to get this, but with their player advantage, they can certainly look to take a decent bit of ground.
That was very unfortunate. They made number one mistake on the crit streak, which is just focusing what's in front of you to not get bombed. No one was looking behind him. Not Pyro, not Medic, not anyone else. They were all focused forward, and I mean, they got what they wanted, but at the steep price of losing their own match, staying on crits, they want to just keep momentum up. They want to have an Uber as soon as possible every single time, but these spawns are barely here in time to put up another fight, and Quasar formation is making this incredibly difficult for them.
Yeah, this is becoming really sticky. It looked like a really, really good start, but that bomb coming in sort of nullified the efforts of Sensation, and they're just trying to edge their way over this hill. They're taking an awful lot of damage in return. Quark putting in a real solid shift for his side, and they've got to take a lot of ground. They use the crits, they pick up Clav pretty early, as they do Walker, but DuMmTm slips out the all-important Medic, a full Uber advantage in their hand. 3-minute 30 for them to take down, and looks like Quasar are setting themselves up for a pretty reasonable second hold. It looks like they want to go super aggressive with this Uber charge, though. They bomb forward with Spoon, managing to get 2 frags onto Haver and Dave. A beautiful sync bomb there, but have they overcommit? DuMmTm caught on his own, but Davey pretty weak, managing to get picked off by the arrow. I mean, I'll take that trade. It was a bit of a sticky spot.
It's funny for the man. Unfortunately, it's just later. They have actually, generously enough, not a new spawn wave, just barely the game in DuMmTm's favor there. Able to get the kill. It doesn't matter for anyone really. Matt hits the same spawn wave, the DuMmTm is just back instantly anyway. And they still got the red kill regardless, so it's like nothing ever happened. They're sticking on the crit squeak. I guess I can't blame it at this point. They have a tough time ahead of them, so they want to go out swinging one way or the other.
Yeah, they've taken an awful lot of space. We did see them able to pick up a bit of momentum, but it could be a bit too little, too late. Spoon comes in, seemingly lives for about 5 years, managing to shoot 6 rockets at the Medic, eventually gets it over the line, coupled with a few frags from his supporting players. They are going to give up this second cap to Sensation, because all they're concerned about is just getting a pretty reasonable hold on all of the points here, and they just want to take the time down.
Burn to death because the scout with more health took the pack. Okay, well, this is how you lose the game. GG, that's the moral broken.
Right. I mean,
the bigger problem at this point really was that there was 9 people around the Medic and 0 of them were looking upward to see the speed bomb coming. And that just leaves one man against the world, and Spoon's good enough to hit those, unfortunately, for Sensation. Takes another good bit of wind out of their sails. I mean, it's crit, so they're gonna have first again in theory. In practice, we'll see if we get there.
Yeah, Quark gets picked off by Adjay, so opens up a little bit of space on this hill, but they've got to contend with the red sniper who is ever present. Yucca picking off the gun, just trying to take away those seconds, try and pull people back, try and make it so the rollouts are slower. And it seems to be doing them pretty well. 1 minute 30 left. They're going to have a really decisive hold there, but push, sorry. Oh, the crits comes out. Manages to get 2 right at the start there. The counter Uber comes out, and so many players are concentrated on this track. It could be a potentially devastating Uber for Quasar. They managed to get Dave, they managed to get Alcero, but they're not going to let greed get the better of them as Dixos tries to take this shithouse area as well.
Yeah, the lot of spam coming through. The gun with the shield still doing so much work. Meave just holding this whole together for so long, but they see the writing on the wall. They might have gotten the medic, but they focused any and all fire on the medic. And then everyone else was just still there left post-Uber to just do the rest of the work, just spam them down. Bomb got in deep on the medic and just forced them out early. And there is just a glimmer of hope for Sensation. They will have like one push on them to make this happen, but they have to do it on crits in the Uber.
We saw it before on Vigil, and they weren't able to get it over the line. They had a couple of blunders. The excitement got the better of them. Looks like they want to get in nice and early though. Haver seemingly trying to coordinate with Adjay, but it was slightly disjointed, but managing to get the damage anyway and picking up a lot of essential players. DuMmTm popping the overcharge on to Spoon. They've got their spy up there as well, and they're just looking to pick off as many people as they can, but with nobody on the cart from Sensation, it could be a bit of a tall order. Quasar being unrelenting with this upper position here, and that could be enough. You know, it's 15 seconds remaining, ×3 on the cap now, but a real good position here from Quasar, looking to pick him off at the end here.
A really nice bomb by Spoon, just on the high ground, immediately in front of the combo. Before they couldn't pop on the demo, and they didn't have anything at all to fire. And Dave just has to see his demo man go down with nothing left to retaliate, and Sensation will not be able to do it. They played the best with their backs against the walls, but it was just too little too late. And Quasar formation stands strong against it, even if it looked a whole lot closer by the end of it on both maps, really, but it just wasn't enough. Still a little bit scary for sure. Gotta make sure that they are not slacking when it really matters in the future, so long way to go still for both rosters.
Yeah, I mean, if we have a little look at these logs again, it's looking pretty stark. It's looking like exactly what we saw on Vigil. Spoon, Quarky, again, sitting around very similar stats, both two in the top scorer. Funky had a really solid map as well. Yucca was a bit more quiet on this map, but to be honest, that shift he put in on Vigil was stellar. I don't think you could fault that at all. And sort of the position that we saw Sensations forced into didn't really warrant the same sort of opportunities that Yucca was able to get before, and picking it up was Funky anyway. So a pretty admirable attempt from both sides, but ultimately it and understandably Quasar are the ones that really stick out there. Order particularly off the back of that, so unfortunate for Sensation. GG's to Quasar, and best of luck as the season progresses.
Yeah, they will need it. They're up in Premiership. They got what they wanted, but this is now the hard part, right? This is now what really
they've got to actually
for them.
Play Prem.
Yeah, I mean, many have been there, but not many have actually done well, so this is where the fun begins.
Yeah, certainly so. So if we wrap it up there, thank you very much for watching, everyone, and make sure you check out all of the good Critscast stuff. You know, we've got our socials, you know, we've got Patreon, with thanks of your subscriptions here and people that plonk themselves on this Patreon. It really does go a long way in supporting both the production and crew. So big props to you all. Thanks for watching, everyone. It's been me, joined by DuMmTm, and it's been Wiethoofd on production, one of the many unsung heroes of production. Thank you for joining us, and have a good night.
Hi-oh, beaver! Away!